the Accelerator program is there for the people that want to move fast, right? When you have all these different resources underneath one roof, now you've developed a program where people can really fast track themselves into starting to generate revenue.
We help people with ideas get them to revenue.
Hey everyone, I'm Aaron.
And I'm Norm, and we are the hosts of this podcast and idea consultants here at 52 Launch, where we turn your idea into a business.
So jumping right into it, Norm, what, we talk about things all the time,
Yeah.
right? But talk to me about like what exactly is 52 Launch
Yeah.
if you were to, talk to someone on the street.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always so fun talking about my job and what I do for people. It's an interesting company, right? Because obviously we're turning people's ideas into, a reality, right? Products on the market. So it's a really interesting concept, right? Design, manufacturing, branding, and marketing are our four pillars, right? But it's more than that because you're not just getting our services, right? You're also getting, a whole bunch of mentorship along the way. It's for those people who don't really understand what e-commerce is, right? And obviously e-commerce is, products sold online.
Yeah.
What our specialty is figuring out how to go about that, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not an easy process, and we try to make it as simple and easy to follow as anybody, that's just, coming off the street to purchase a product,
Yeah.
coming through those doors is going to be able to follow how we go about bringing product to market.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%, right? The 52 Launch, the birth of 52 Launch was the solution to a problem that many people face in the sense that there's no back-end support in the
Right.
product-based business, the online store world. Nobody knows where to begin. Or if they do, they have to jump to 5 different businesses, all of them getting marked up. Now you're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars. Well, how can we do this better? Right?
Exactly.
That is our response to the Accelerator program.
Absolutely. And you just brought up the Accelerator
Yeah.
program right now. Talk to me about what the Accelerator program is and what does it solve and who is it for?
Yeah, I think it's for the person that is, maybe doesn't have the infrastructure behind them or to their access in order to really bring their product not only to life, but sell it at scale, right? And it's really covers, the Accelerator program covers 4 pillars: design, production, branding, and marketing. And it is your all-encompassing resource or tool in order to check every single box along the way so that you can start a fully scalable business. You'll be the CEO of this business. We are not taking stake equity or profit. We're giving you the opportunity to start a product-based business, which you might not have had before, and a tool that you can really grow and scale and frankly solve a lot of other people's problems
Right.
with your product.
And essentially, we're a go fast company. That's
Yeah.
why we call it the Accelerator
Yeah,
program,
100%,
right?
yeah.
Because our competitors can get the product to market in around 2 to 3 years, right? We specialize in getting the product to market quickly, right? The biggest thing to keep in mind here is it's not easy when you're bringing
No.
a product to market, right? But we've brought it down to a science of how to do it correct, right?
Yeah.
And the right way. And the right way to start out, right, is through design. So when somebody comes and pitches us a product, right, but has no sketches or 3D CAD model, it's just an idea on the back of a napkin, right? How do we kind of translate to them
Yeah.
how crazy this process truly is in layman terms?
Yeah, and I think it's such a good question, right? So it's all about kind of walking them through our process, right, from A to Z, right? Because our project managers that get assigned to every client that comes through our door, they take such a almost invasive process, and
You're out.
and during that onboarding phase, on really finding out what the core idea is, what the value prop is. And honestly, the more work that you can do beforehand, right before talking to me or Norm, or during the process where you're evaluating or we're evaluating your idea, the better this process is going to be, right?
Oh,
So,
totally.
I mean, hats off to the project manager because the work they do is frankly second to none.
It's
right?
incredible, but it's
Yeah.
also really fun when people come to us now that AI is so big
Yeah.
with an AI generated image
Yeah.
that we can have a very, very good understanding for what we're going for,
Right.
so that we get the value proposition across. So there's a lot of our clients that will come to us with an AI generated image. They'll share their screen. They'll talk about the summary of what they're trying to do, and even the materials that they have in mind for it. And it gives us a better understanding for what we're going for. So when we relay it to our team and we talk about market viability, that's first and foremost what we're uncovering here, is what the product's going to look like, or inside the mind of the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And we jump into design, right? Obviously, we're going to do some sketches to first and foremost, right? And if they like the first one, right, we're obviously going to move forward into 3D CAD modeling. But if they don't, we're going to take a step back, and we're going to obviously take a look at what we've done, and try to improve upon that sketch. Because when we jump into 3D CAD modeling and that design to manufacture stage, we want to make sure that we're, completely on the same page as the entrepreneur. Because again, this is a team-based effort, and we all have to be on, the same ship, steering the exact same way. Because again, we are a go fast company, and that's why it's called the Accelerator Program. So talk to me about 3D CAD modeling, and what direction we take after that's all set and ready to go.
No, 100%. So 3D CAD modeling is really kind of the root of what we call the DFM process, design and manufacture. Like Norm just mentioned, it's essentially the difference between how you put something together on when you 3D print it in your garage or your mom's basement or wherever, versus a professionally well done company that does it, that know the only difference between making 500 units of this and 50,000 units of this is capital. To be frank,
absolutely,
right? And
100%.
that 3D CAD modeling is the beginning of this process, right? Because there's only so much those machines that we have overseas can do. There are limitations, and being able to kind of follow those rules that the machines have makes your product designed to manufacture. And that's one unique competitive advantage we have that no one else really does, right? Making sure that is really squared away. Once we go through that process, we're making sure that this is scalable from the manufacturing perspective, right? We are now getting those pre-production samples, right? So those
which
are
is
kind
really,
of
really
like
cool. But even before that, right, with our manufacturing team being able to go overseas
all the time
and have those conversations with those managers overseas, that's pretty exciting. And the photos and the videos that they have, to showcase us when they return is pretty inspiring. And then when obviously, talk to us about the pre-production samples and what that looks like when the entrepreneur is able to see and feel it for the first time.
So this is exactly what you're going to get. What the consumer get is exactly what you're going to get, because before you put in a 1,000-piece inventory, we got to make sure this is good to go. You got to make sure that because again, you're the CEO, right? You go whether it's you or me or whoever goes through this process, right? You will get the sign off on everything. Like, all the way down to the font and the color scheme on your website, right? So we're making sure that pre-production sample is exactly the product that you envisioned, probably even better, because we're forming a melting pot of ideas. But as soon as you okay that, then we're going in that next step. We're putting that production order in, right, of 1,000 to 2,000 units, right? We're making sure that gets overseas, that gets made, safely, effectively, gets back to the United States, and then we're ready to, at least on the production side, we're ready to start selling.
Well, that's the cool thing, right? Because we actually have inventory in-house at that time, that we can store in our fulfillment centers around our campus here at 52 Launch, which is very, very cool, because not everybody knows we can actually box, label, and ship directly to the consumer, which is a huge bonus and a huge reason why our current clients have chosen us over our competitors.
Really, the only phrase I got going in my head right now is one-stop shop. They're not both.
We all hate that term, but it does speak to how incredible and how hands-on we truly are, because it's such a better place to be with us having more hands on the project than less, because whenever you're trying to pull from all these different companies, when you're bringing one product to market, it's very, very difficult. You need to have clear communication in order to do it properly, and to do it properly the first time.
100%. And 52 Launch, we're a launchpad company, right? So our job, just like Norm said, the reason we offer the low shipping and fulfillment option that we do is because if you were to go to Amazon right out of the gate, they just eat up your profits, right? And you wouldn't have the quantities sold at the beginning in order to justify some sort of Amazon contract, right? But in order to get there, right, you need marketing and
You
branding,
do need
right? You
marketing
need
and
people to
brand.
be aware,
Right. And
right?
like first day, you're sitting down with our branding and marketing
Yeah,
team. What is getting done? How are they going about it?
yeah.
Talk to me about the experience of actually building a business around the
Mm.
product.
No, it's a super exciting one, and they're as in depth as the production side, if
Mhm.
not more, right? The first things we're doing for you, we're creating a logo, we're getting you a name, right? We're starting to develop the kind of the inner workings, I guess, of your website, right?
Yeah.
Your e-commerce website, making sure has the SEO, the copywriting, right? Has making sure that this website's going to rank on search engines like Google or Bing or Yahoo in front of the right audiences, right? Because again, I could have the nicest website in the world, and at some point I will once I go, once I'm going through this program. But if it's ranking for all of the people looking at cornhole, I'm not
Right.
going to sell much
No,
product,
you're not.
right?
Yeah.
So having that SEO and being able to target those audiences, right? So going through, I'm creating the logos.
Mhm.
I'll get trademarked as well,
Yeah.
making sure that I'm protected, while also developing that branding strategy in order
Yeah.
to identify who my audience is.
Talk to me about the website as a whole
Yeah, yeah,
and how it has to be eye-catching, but also transactional.
100%. And yeah, it's so we built all of our websites on Shopify,
Mhm.
okay? And with the professional content that we take in house, so the photos, the videos, the infomercials, we're taking all of that content, we're putting it on your website. So not only are we building a visually appealing website, right? We're making sure that the look and feel of the brand is resonating on that website to the consumer, right? But we're also constructing a way that funnels the consumer down towards the purchase button, right? There's a reason why you go on Amazon and there's an add to cart and a buy button everywhere you go, right? It's because
100%,
they're
yeah.
smart, and there's that's the reason they're so big,
Yeah.
or
It's
that's
like
one of the
so
things.
so easy to make that purchase.
100%, and
Yeah.
that's the secret. That's like the secret to e-commerce,
Yeah.
right? Is make the impulse buys
Yeah.
have to be
It's
easy.
all based in convenience.
Has to be
Yeah.
absolutely 100% in quick shipping.
Yeah.
But so not only are we constructing where the funnels them down towards the buy button, on the back end, like I mentioned before, the SEO, the copywriting,
Yeah.
right?
And how
All the key
important is
research.
SEO, like, after you're launched, right? So
Yeah,
launch date
and it's
happens,
huge.
right? You're off and you're selling.
Mm,
SEO is so incredibly important, right?
mm.
This obviously search engine optimization is what
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about. When you look up us, when you look at us on Google, right?
Yeah,
You may think that you found us. In reality, my marketing team went and found you.
yeah.
We were looking for like-minded entrepreneurs who
Mm,
not just want to bring a product to market, right? But also want to sell units, which
yeah.
is it's hard in itself, right? To
Mm.
differentiate between the two. So how important is SEO, paid advertising
Mm.
after launch date?
It is absolutely crucial if you want to make money.
Yeah.
If you want your product to sell, you have to do SEO and you have to do paid ads.
Mhm.
And then I would also challenge you to do the Google ad, the Facebook and the
Yeah.
Instagram
To
ads
get
as well.
started, right? Because
To
that's
get
another thing,
started.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Instagram and Facebook ads to get started.
Right.
Same thing with TikTok Shop, working with
100%.
influencers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because again, like if you're going to buy a product off of Google, right? You
Mm.
look up on Google, which product are you going to buy? The one with 250
Yeah.
reviews or the one with 15?
Yeah. Yeah. No,
So
it's absolutely crucial if you want your product to sell. I mean, and
absolutely.
continuing to reinvest revenue, right? Investing, let's say, a couple $1,000s a month on Google ad spend, you're gonna get, hopefully two to three X times that in revenue. But just pouring that back into the company
Yeah.
will then eventually turn it into, a money-making machine, so to
Yes.
speak. So it's
And
absolutely crucial.
let's discuss entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
right? After launch date, right? Because let's say the Accelerator Program, it's over. You've come on here, you've sat down in one of these chairs, you had a podcast with us. You're off and running
Yeah.
and selling units,
Yep.
right? What does our relationship look like after the Accelerator Program? And what are the steps to be taken to be a successful entrepreneur?
Yeah, well, if 52 Launch does their job, which they're pretty good at,
Right.
they'll be my long-term manufacturer, right? There's also room where with 52 Launcher, we've essentially turned ourselves into a marketing agency,
Right.
right? So the creating more content or the paid ads, like we mentioned earlier, we can do those services for you to keep building that brand awareness, keep pushing in front of new relevant audiences. we're not locking you in a contractual,
Yeah.
some sort of long-term contract, right? We're fighting for your business every
Absolutely.
single
It's up
day.
to us to win your business
Right.
every single day. Where it's a very team-based,
Yeah.
subject matter, right?
Mm.
Because again, like you're much rather going to trust somebody who shows up every single day
Yeah.
and does their job correctly
Yeah.
than, a company that's going to tie you into a long-term contract, which
Yeah.
is something we don't do. We want our work to speak for itself.
100%, 100%. And that's essentially our business model, right? Like whenever you're just looking at if you're out there with an idea and you're thinking about 52 Launch or some other company, you always have to ask yourself whose business model aligns with
So
the
true.
consumer, right? Because the us in between, we're a segue, right? From the person with the idea to the consumer, we are the segue. That's how we get them over there. And when our clients scale and when they're making money, we make money because we're a manufacturing company,
Right.
right? We're not taking equity or stake or profit because you could sell 10 and I still make some money, but I don't want you to scale like we want you to scale here
Right.
at 52 Launch, right?
Right.
So it's absolutely vital that we're getting not only inventory to the shelves, but they're flying off the shelves as quickly as possible.
100%. And that's really what 52 Launch
Yeah.
is capable of.
Yeah.
And if this sounds like something that you'd be interested in and, pitching your product to us and going on this journey, because it's not an overnight journey, right?
Yeah,
It's a
definitely not.
long journey that we go on together. Click the link below, go to our consultation site and book a consultation with one of us. And we'd love to hear your pitch and see if you'd be a solid fit for us. Now that we've talked about the Accelerator Program and we know the fundamentals and we have a good understanding for everybody's experience
Yeah.
going through it,
Yeah.
I know that you're just starting out
Yeah.
on your own Accelerator Program, your own journey with 52
Yeah.
Launch. Talk to me about, what has accelerated your wants and needs to start a business and your vision for your product as a whole.
Yeah, and I think it's a couple things, right? Like I think the desire to make money, desire to have another income stream,
Yeah.
right? Which is why we all get into it, which is no shame about it,
Yeah.
right? I also think there's no other team out there that I would rather have working on my product, right?
Yeah.
I've seen the back end, I've seen the front end, I've
Yeah.
seen successful companies, and I know what the CEO, of your online business needs to do in order to see it scale, right?
Right.
So there's nothing that is not repeatable or nothing that I can't do.
Yeah.
Even in a crowded industry, which I'm entering, right? And it's for my specific product, it's very brand heavy
Yeah.
and what will separate me from, buying another similar product, right? So it's it'll be a very important role. It'll be a very educational one. Something I'm very excited about,
Yeah.
and I can't wait to be selling at scale
I'm
soon.
sure. I'm sure.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see it grow.
Yeah.
Now, as far as what step you're most excited about,
Yeah.
tell me a little bit more about, which one you're most looking forward to.
Launching.
Yeah, I'm sure that's
Launching,
that's
yeah.
on your mind
Yeah,
quite a bit,
definitely
right?
on my mind. Yeah,
Yeah.
seeing the inventory fly off the shelf.
Yeah.
I'm excited to get inventory. I'm excited to try it out.
Yeah.
I'm more excited to try the TikTok shops and
Yeah, I'm
actually
sure.
like seeing what those returns are going to look like.
Yeah.
Because ultimately that's revenue. Like my product is exciting and the strategy that I have is very, very exciting. I'm very
Yeah.
fulfilled by it. But at the end of the day, there's only one way to get revenue,
Absolutely.
right? And it's get customers to the website and make sure that they convert.
Well, absolutely. And
Yeah.
and marketing over everything, right?
100%.
And I think that you and I have discussed the proper strategy for you,
Mm.
which is, if we can reiterate, Instagram, Facebook ads, working with influencers, micro influencers to start.
SEO a little.
Yeah. And then, but, work your way into SEO, right?
Yeah.
That's
You got to have that in the back. It's like
yeah.
your 401k.
Google ads are key, right? Google ads are key, but you want to do it at the right time.
Yeah.
So
100%.
it's fantastic, and I'm wishing you well on your journey.
Well, I really appreciate that, and it's I'm fortunate and thankful to be part of such a good team that always delivers.
Yeah, excellent.
Launch.
If you want to learn more about 52 Launch, go ahead and click this link below. And if you have an idea that you just can't stop thinking about, go ahead and click this link. It'll bring you to a page to fill out your information, and you'll be able to book a free consultation with Aaron and I and bring your product to market.